back to your favorite show and mine. It's Two Kims.
One pod.
I'm your host, Peter Kim.
And this is your other host, Eunji Kim.
And this is our pod. Let's get right into it.
Yes, please.
Yeah. This has been a interesting week for me.
Yes.
I found out. Well, I don't want to go into that yet. I don't want to go into. I don't want to go into work stuff. Like, I feel like you and I, when we talk, like, we go like straight into work stuff.
This is
and
true.
Like, I don't know if people are excited about that. Like, to talk about work stuff. You know, like.
Okay. Really? People don't want to hear about. That's like one of my favorite things to do, which is like. It's truly, it's one of my favorite things to do is to gossip, count other people's money, and talk about work. Like, what are you talking about?
When do you get to count other people's money?
I do it all the time.
Are you a cashier?
No, I mean, you know when like people that you tangentially know are spending money? I like to count their money like that. Like guesstimate.
Like you see their Venmo receipts and you're like,
no, but you know when like
people, has some expendable income.
Yeah, like kind of like that. Like, you know, people that you know tangentially and like kind of know about their like job circumstances and their like relationships, and then they're like going on really big vacations or buying things and like kind of being, you know, it's not necessarily that even being flashy. Like I have to investigate sometimes, but
you love to dig in.
Yes.
To see how much they're spending, where they're staying, how many star resort it is.
Exactly. What kind of job they're doing. Does their spouse or something get a big promotion? Like, or are they living outside of their means? Yes, a financial sleuth. I think, yeah.
In your recent sleuthing, have you found out anything that really shocked you about a friend or an acquaintance that you were sleuthing on?
Yes, that
took so long to answer. Oh my God, who are you thinking about? I need to know full name. Who are you talking about? Okay, well, you don't have to tell me, but was it like a nice surprise, or you're like, oh, that's where you went?
No, I mean, the calculations I was making meant that the financial circumstances are much better for this person, or
than you once thought.
Than I once thought, or which is
thing.
often the case, as you know, Peter, inside of the creative arts. Oftentimes, it's much more that their family is helping them. Like, I've done the math, I've crunched the numbers, and there's no way that they can make this work. I've done the numbers. They're crunching the numbers. I'm crunching the numbers.
You've gone to their IMDb. You see what they're booked.
I know what the rates are.
Cross-referenced it onto their website and their bio, and you're like, okay, what jobs have you had?
And I've cross-referenced it with the SAG rates, given like
the SAG minimums. Yes,
SAG minimums, and even guessing that they might have gotten over because of the work history. Is now the math is not mathing. So then I have to say, where's this money coming from? And then oftentimes, as you know,
and then you go back to like a Christmas or a Thanksgiving post, and
the island is too long. The island is too damn big, and so I have to.
If you've spent your winter holidays in the U.S. or British Virgin Isles, your parents are helping you out, creative.
And it's fine. But I love to do this, Peter. This is one of my. I have to know. It's such a disgusting little habit. But you know what? I did not grow up. I'm obsessed. I didn't grow up with this kind of money. I need to know. No. I want to know.
You have to be prepared. How do when I become generational wealth? How do I spend? How do I vacation?
How am I going to supplement my child's creative pursuits?
Yes.
Like, I mean, I need to know.
Oh my God, your kids are going to be so incredibly your kids are going to be the kids in improv class that the other Asian kids look at and be like, fuck you.
Yes.
You fucking nepo baby bitch.
I mean, I hope. But they're not. I mean, no one in my family.
I hope I could have some nepo babies. I hope one day I could nepo some fucking babies.
I want a nepo.
It's getting so hard. Everything's getting choked. The fucking proverbial belt is getting tightened everywhere. There's no room for the rest of us. It's nepo or nothing.
It's nepo or nothing. And the thing is, like the nepo baby, I do want. I guess in my heart of hearts, like you kind of hope that they'll nepo, but I just know that they won't. Like I am being abusive.
What, that they won't take care, they won't ask you for help, or that they won't go into the same or similar vein of career?
I don't think they'll go into the same vein of career. One, because I will be abusive enough and to prevent this from happening. And or
you've already started the horror stories.
Exactly. And
you see this residual check? This is what I'm looking for. Oh my god! I almost put coffee all over my fucking computer desk.
Oh my gosh!
Caught it last minute like a fucking lemur.
Holy shit! Are lemurs known for that? Reflexes?
Agile. They have prehensile tails.
Oh, I know about the prehensile tail. I didn't realize their agility was like preternatural.
Okay, maybe not a lemur. I don't know, a gazelle.
Okay,
what kind of animals?
We do need to put an SAT word alert on this episode. We use prehensile and preternatural. Someone needs to go to each of our respective homes and kick us in the butt. So, sorry, SAT word warning, trigger alert.
Wait, hold on. Let me put on my glasses first before you punch me in the face. Nerd alert. I know we do tend to use our SAT words a lot because you know why? It's been fucking drilled into our goddamn craniums from our SAT prep traumas, and it's never gonna leave. And we have to use it somehow. You know, even till this day, I have a dictionary app because I'm like voracious for vocabulary.
Voracious. Shut up. Go home, Roger. Go home. You know, like, I will say the return on that SAT word investment was has not really worked out for me. Like, I've never.
No way. I don't believe it. What do you mean it hasn't worked out for you?
Like,
in what? You don't use big words anymore? What do you're always using fucking $9
Yes, but
words.
it's not helping me. It's not helping me out of here.
It does help you. It does help you because when you use it on our podcast, people go, "Oh my god, I had to look up that word." Thank you, Eunji. It might not be helping you directly, but it's helping it's helping your fans.
It's given me I have received. I can be certain that my knowing, like, I would say 1,500 more words that I really need to know, right, has helped me in zero ways. I've made $0 off of it. If anything, I've actually gotten negative dollars because the fact that I use the word survey.
You mean survey?
No.
The way you said no to me. You look like you were gonna fucking slap me with your Kumon book. No.
S-U-R. I don't even know how you pronounce it. S-U-R-F-E-I-T. It's one of. I remember this is one of the first ones when, like, you know, when the words are starting to really word and like implant themselves in your brain.
Yeah. My first word of words was apiary.
Oh my god! Because of the
apiary?
A. Yes, I do remember apiary. Yeah. I mean, it was a dream of mine to have an apiary.
Oh, I still one.
Yeah.
Mother, may I? A solarium next to an apiary.
Apiary? Yes.
I just want to live in like a barren Tim Burton wooded forest in like
you want a great garden. You want a great garden situation.
Yeah, I want to be Edie. Anyway, surfeit.
Surfeit. I don't know. I think it's a French root, so it's surfeit, like parfait. Okay. S-U-R-F-E-I-T, and it means a surplus. So the fact that I know this word. Okay. Exactly. It's a stupid fucking word to know. It's occupying space in my mind that could be well served. I don't know, learning stuff about science. Why do I know this word? Truly, like
one day. It will come into. You'll need it one day when someone, like, the Earth is about to get bombed, and they're like, "Wait, where's the room? Wait, which room do we have to go into to get more missiles for WW3?" And then one says, like, I don't know, room, and the other one says surfeit missile room, and you're like, that's the one. This is where the surplus is. And then you're gonna fucking save the world. You're gonna save the world.
Absolutely like an unhinged missile producer is like.
Which room is it? The one that says room or surfeit room? G Kim comes out of the shadows. I know this word.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like so many words actually mean other things. There's so few words that it's like there's like a singular word to describe it. And there's like the obscure word that no one knows, and then there's a word that everyone uses. It really brings you nothing but like a pretentious joy.
Glares. Yes. Exactly. Glares from the normies.
Pretentious joy to know the obscure word, and it really doesn't help you outside
That's
of this.
all we have in this life. That's all we have left, you and I. We have no nepo possibilities.
No, actively the opposite.
We have negative nepo.
Negative nepo energy.
Our family hurts us from getting jobs.
Actively hurt.
Actually.
I was literally writing this thing about how I've like received no support from anybody. You know, it's a sort of the support of your family and friends. Like, you know, nothing. So
no, I was put in a baby Bjorn, and even that Bjorn snapped in half. Yeah. No support.
Like actively people trying to drag me down. Like I've never received the support. So it's the idea of nepo. I guess maybe the fact, I don't know. In my mind, Peter, tell me if you agree. Like our brains are so deranged and so damaged from like having no support, no like favors, no nepo energy in our lives at all. That for me, a kind touch
Nothing.
For me, watching someone whose parent supports them, I'm like, this
disgusting.
Bitch. Yes,
Disgusting.
I'm like, you.
Let me tell you, our friend Jonathan Giuseppe and I have this long running joke where, not even a joke, like a bit where when we recently went to a friend, a fellow gay's solo show.
Okay.
And the
Text me his name. Okay.
The front row was populated by not one, but both of his biological parents.
Wow.
His siblings. Like
wow.
Grandma. They were like cheering and like standing ovation, like starting the standing ovation, like tears falling from their eyes, not from shame, but
pride.
Pride. Another P word that we do not, Koreans deign not speak out loud.
Pride.
And me and Jonathan just looked at each other. We're like, there's no way I could ever respect this person.
Yes.
No way.
There's
no way. Because I guess if you come from wealth or privilege or power or whatever, you're always
a loving family. Yeah.
Or loving family. Yeah, that's also emotional privilege.
Yes.
You're always going to Eunji, the ways that you and I have been slighted just entering into this world, we were meant to be bitter. Like could we catch a break? Anyway, the amount that your parents love you and support you and in front row clap out loud and cry in pride, there's never a day that I'm going to respect your art. I won't. I can't. There's just no way. It's like looking at I mean, I love Jamie Lee Curtis, but I guess Jamie Lee Curtis is a bad example because she's
so
done a lot
great.
of good stuff.
Yeah.
Who's like, I don't know, Scott Caan's son? You know what I mean? That like douchey guy from the 90s who's like now in all these like FBI procedurals. Anyway, Scott.
Oh, James Caan's son? Yeah,
James Caan's son,
yeah,
Scott Caan.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like, okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I know, and we've talked about this. We're bitter comedians, and we hate when comedians have rich parents. But like, that's 99% of comedians.
99%.
So like, what are we gonna do?
Yes.
Form a coalition of poors.
And guess what? We just formed it. It's this podcast.
Yeah. It's us and Dave Attell. That's it. No, I'm kidding. I don't know if he comes from money.
No,
I think he probably does. His father owns Emerson.
There's a bunch of people. There are a lot of comedians, especially in the stand-up world, and I think now there are attempts, I think, and efforts within the community to have a certain amount of diversity of thought and social class. I think it's something that has hopefully been a part of the sort of post-racial reckoning that happened, you know? But like that diversity to me is so much more meaningful, because at the end of the day, you know this, Peter, even the token diversity people or that sort of thing that happens oftentimes, those people, those diverse hires are also oftentimes very affluent as well. Like, even if
they got connected in, even getting in the door, they're like, can you find the black? And they're like, I saw one like near my cul-de-sac. You know what I mean? Like,
or like,
remember when Second City, when I was at Second City, they were like, we don't have any Asian understudies or black women understudies. So like, can you go out there to like, I don't know, the colleges and find your own understudies? It's like very that energy of like, I don't know, like that person.
And that's the thing is, then oftentimes these people are looking around in their own environs, you know, like at their country clubs, their Ivy League schools, and it's the people that are there. And it's oftentimes, you know, other people of color that are coming from very privileged backgrounds. And again, that doesn't diminish anything. None of this nepo stuff actually diminishes your talent or anything like that.
Okay.
But yes.
Okay.
It is.
I agree. Their talent wins out. Yada yada yada. Sure. But apples to apples, like, you're not getting seen if you're not nepoed in.
That's right.
The other thing, though, okay, nepo babies are crying about, like, don't diminish what it took for me to become Dakota Johnson or whatever the fuck, right? I get that. I understand. But what about the people that did it without, you know, fucking Melanie Griffith or whoever, you know, Meg Ryan, whoever your mom was?
Melanie Griffith.
Like, what about those people who made it without that? Should we give them more awards then? Because they didn't get a leg up. I think so.
You think they should get a special award?
I think you should be a special award if your mom had nothing to do with your fucking profession.
What's that award? What's that award going to be called?
Fucking extra credit award, or like A+ student award. Something.
Good job from Peter Kim award.
Yeah. I want validation for doing it against your will. Okay? You tried to stop me, but I came through. I tricked you. It's like me trying to scale your castle, and you've been pouring hot fucking oil down the damn ladders, and I still made it up to the turret. All right? I should not only get to kill you, I should fucking eat, I don't know, parade around.
Extra something. Yeah, get a little extra something.
A prize. Do you know how hard it is for us? Fucking nepo babies? We won't diminish you. How about you put us up in a pedestal then? Bitch.
Give me just a little something extra. Maybe there should be a SAG rate that's like for, like, if someone in
non-nepos.
Non-nepo.
Yeah.
The non-nepo rate.
My minimum scale should be higher if my dad doesn't have a trust for me.
Or wasn't, like, in the industry at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I just need a non-nepo rate. Maybe that's good. That's good.
Or, like, at least be like fucking what's his name and change your goddamn name. Emilio Estevez. You know what I mean? Have a little fucking pride.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry to all the nepo babies listening to the podcast.
I know. We are sorry. We support you. We support your support of us. Thank you very much. Going back to it, we are shameless. Thank you, nepo. Any nepo people listening. All right. So wait,
throw your nepo dollars at our nepo Patreon. That'd be great.
Please. So going back to it, tell me about your week, Peter.
Oh, I had a weird week. I'm working on a couple of things, as you know. 2 projects. One is in the middle, one is at the end. The project at the end is called Kim Spa. It is a multicam pilot that I wrote almost 5 years ago. And it's been in development since 2019. And with ABC first and now at NBC. And it's come to the final moments where I was told that the HBIC of NBC content,
yes,
Susan Rovner, is reading my
saying
pilot.
Her name fully? Okay.
What? People know who she is.
Okay.
she's Googleable. She's apparently, I am told she's reading my pilot. This, like literally as we speak right now, as we're podcasting.
As we're goofing around, screaming about Nepo babies, oil, and turrets, this woman is reading the words of Peter Kim on her yacht,
Yes.
I'm assuming.
No, not on a yacht. It's January.
On a balcony overlooking this, up in the hills, overlooking the valley of all the have-nots, as she has.
Yeah, she has this. And she, I don't know if she, I'm sure she's the head of NBC. I'm sure she has this. But she, I don't know anything about her except like what I read in the news and see on whatever public stuff. But she seems cool. She seems very smart. So I'm hoping she likes my script.
Yes.
And she decides to greenlight a pilot. And I'm supposed to find out literally tomorrow. So
Crazy.
when I tell you the number of candles lit in this house right now, it is a fucking fire hazard. Crystals strewn about everywhere. Like
we are sending energy, listeners. We're sending energy today. We're
prayers,
sending
thoughts, whatever the fuck you do.
positive
with your God,
energy.
Send it.
Positive energy. We're sending it right now. Just a moment. Okay. Yes.
All right. Anyway, so that, obviously I've been fucking in pins and needles, on pins and needles the whole time. I'm like, oh
Yes.
my God, is she reading it? Did she read it yet? I don't know. How do I? What? So I'm trying to not think about it. And at the same time, this other project that I'm working on, which is in the middle of it, is about to implode. So it's been a very stressful week. And how's your week?
My week has been decidedly less stressful, but
That's good. That's nice. What's that like?
I mean, it's not like so much. It's much less actual stress. I don't know. Like, I have a young child. I did my first headlining set this past week.
Yeah. Okay, tell us all the deets. Where was it? How long did you do?
I did 30 minutes.
Okay.
Which was a mistake.
Wait. Okay. Go back. You. What was the venue?
At Chuck. It's like a Chicago underground comedy. It's at the Kitchen.
Gotcha. Awesome. Okay, so
Yes.
you're doing it at a comedy club. It's 30 minutes. How did it go?
It went bad, but like not in a, but it went bad in a way that was. It was like, man, I don't know. It was bad, but it was also I knew.
It sounds like it wasn't
bad.
a crush. It sounds
was
like
not
it
a
wasn't
crush.
a crush. That's why you think it was bad, because that you and I are the same. If we don't crush, it's bad. We're very like 1-0 about that.
Yes, but I will say what felt good about the bomb was that I knew why I was bombing. Like, I really went up there. I was very discombobulated. My set wasn't really worked out. My bits were very disjointed. I couldn't get a rhythm going because I didn't have the shit in my brain. Because also, this is the other thing.
How did you
Peter.
structure your set? Did you start off with new, or did you start off with like tried and true and then sprinkle in some new? What was the structure?
Peter, I did 30 minutes of new material. Like, some of the things I had never said out loud. Like,
Why?
You know what I mean?
Why? Why?
Why? Because I don't, you know, I mean, like, because
you're headlining. How many comics before you? How many, what was the lineup?
three comics before me.
Okay, each doing like what, like 8 minutes or something?
10. Yeah, 10. So the person before me did, I think, 15. So
That's a lot of, okay.
yeah. So I mean, it's whatever. Some of the things I truly was saying out loud for the first time, and the thing is, like, the other stuff that was new I had done in a 10-minute chunk that I knew worked, but I couldn't get the rhythm going because I had fucked up the order so I could pad time, and it was an egregiously hubristic move to do 30 minutes of new material of stuff that I also didn't have in my bones. Like, I was like looking at notes, and
at
like,
no point you like decided to be like, okay, this is not working, go back to like son eating shit out of your hand or whatever. Like you didn't.
No.
There was no like moment where you were like, okay, go back to the stuff that works.
No.
You were like, just
Abandon
keep
ship. I
doing
never
new
abandoned
stuff.
ship. I just kept digging
Oh my
myself in the grave,
God.
baby. And so
Oh my god.
because I wanted to know what worked. I wanted to know because
Yeah.
it's like
And you're not doing open mics.
I'm not doing open mics like this. So I just needed to know where I'm getting the teehees, where there was juice in the
But
bits,
you didn't want to
like,
give like 5 minutes of top of like hot gold and then like get into some new stuff and then like.
Let me tell you something. I started off the set so with a stutter. I started off the set with like a little stutter step. So I was kind of like already off balance. I mean, there was like some there were some parts that were fine. And like I knew that if I had settled into it and didn't keep returning to my bit and just did my own material, yeah, the set would have been fine. But I would have learned nothing. I would have learned nothing about the new material I'm trying to do. I would have learned nothing.
No, my point is, could you have learned, like, instead of trying 30 minutes of new material, could you have tried 25?
I'm sure, but that's
Like, why did you have to try out all 30? Is my point. Like,
because
I get that you're trying to work out material, but like, why the whole 30 minutes of new instead of
because I'm not well, because I'm a masochist, because once a cutter, always a cutter. I don't know, like I just truly like I truly.
Oh my God. Okay, so how did they respond? Were they with you the whole time? Were they on your side? Even though you're not bringing hard punches, are they still like, we like her, we're going along for the ride?
Yes, they were. I mean, the thing is,
great.
I mean, like my, like, however discombobulated and scatterbrained, I literally didn't have bits in my mind. Like, you know what? I knew I was fucking up, so I was just like, I was just fucking up. Like I was just like, well, I can't figure this out right now. It was like the mechanics of the whole thing were kind of like out the window. I just was fucking up. I literally can't tell you anything else outside of it. Like, I was.
What was the bit that like fizzled the worst?
Oof. I would say it was this bit that I have about how. So I have this bit about how, like, if you just listen to my set, people would think that I hate my husband and my child. And because they're like, the way you talk about them seems like you don't like them, that you want to get a divorce and you hate your child. And my friend was saying how since she's gotten to know me, she knows that's all a lie. Like, this is just a bit that I do on stage. And I am, in fact, actually in a very loving marriage and I'm obsessed with my child. And I was like, yeah, but of course, like, what kind of psycho just says what they mean? You know what I mean? Like what? Like that. Like the idea that you would just be earnest like that. That's fucking crazy. Like I was like, that's the bit where I was just kind of circling, and people were like, "What?" And I was like, "What? What? Everyone just says what they mean, and they're being honest with themselves and others. Like that's crazy." Like I was doubling down on it in a way that made me seem truly insane.
They're like, we paid to be here. What is happening?
And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what kind of coastal nonsense is like being earnest? I'm like, we're playing, like that's emotional checkers. Like in the Midwest, we're playing chess. And like, everyone's like, what? And I'm like, whatever. I'll figure it out. But that was it was unhinged, but that was the thing that I had the hardest time selling, where people were like, what? And I think it was also because I had set it up strangely in the set because, whatever. I will say that I have a new chunk about nepo babies that is kind of happening. I know that it didn't do great at the set there, but I know it's because of how I presented it and it's whatever, but because otherwise it is a pretty strong bit. But speaking of nepo babies, did I ever tell you about my story about Apple Merton?
No. Gwyneth's daughter?
Correct. So I don't care. This is a story that I've told on stage a couple of times, but I never get it going really well because people just don't know what to think. But this is a true story about when I went to go to see SNL live. If people out there, if you're listening, you can't, it's an actual show. You can be in the live studio audience. I was fortunate enough to go because we had friends who were writing on the show. And I went, and if you're in the studio audience, you're not allowed to bring any water. Like no water. You cannot drink any water. You have to like the entrance to the studio audience is littered with bottles of water because you're not allowed to bring any in. And it is so cold in a studio audience, as you know, because you just went to one. Like it's cold and it's very dry and you're waiting for a really long time. Like imagine like an hour where you're just waiting, and it's also very late. So and you can't drink water. Like I was drinking water out of the bathroom faucet, like pulling it in my hand and spooning it into my mouth. That's how I was drinking water. I would like go to the bathroom, spoon it into my mouth, and then like just wet my lips basically.
Yeah, like a damn vagrant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So everyone is like thirsty like this, and we're grumbling because there's a lot of like tourists that go, and then there's like people like us, you know, and out of the corner of my eye, as I'm like fuming about this water situation, because you know I'm also in like a full fur coat because I've gone there because we're gonna go out and to the after party afterwards, you know.
Of course.
So like you know the fur's getting in my mouth.
The
I'm
face
parched.
is feet. Yeah.
Yes, but you know the fur's getting in my mouth. I'm parched. Whatever. So out of the corner of my eye, I see this like blonde teen and her like brunette friend. Like it, you know, like in a Mean Girl duo, there's always one blonde, one brunette. Like,
yeah, of course.
It's like this.
The main and the side.
Correct. And so that's what's happening as I see them coming out of the corner of my eye, and they're both carrying like water bottles, like a Swell water bottle.
Oh, no.
That's right. And they're being escorted out by a security guard for violating the rules, right? We've all experienced
the number one rule. Yeah.
The number one rule, no water. And I see it. I'm like, oh, and you know, I like watching other people's, you know, misfortune. So I'm like, oh, look at these bitches. Like, you know, like they're about to get thrown out. Yes. Like, you know, I'm like looking around, like looking at other people to be like, isn't this crazy? Like these stupid bitches thought they could get away with breaking the rules.
Bitch, try lapping up water out of fucking faucet, ho.
So they get to the entrance, and instead of being escorted out, they are allowed to sit at the entrance by the soundboard and watch the show.
VIP?
I'm fuming. I can't stop looking. It's ruining my experience at the show because I'm fuming. I can't stop looking back. I mean, like, who the fuck are these?
You hate an obvious caste system.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Now on Weekend Update, and I have no idea who these people are. And so on Weekend Update that week was a special guest. Her name was Gwyneth Paltrow. So she's on the show, and then as the show progresses, there's a buzz behind me, and Gwyneth is at the entrance. She's come upstairs to retrieve her rule-breaking girl, and then that is fucking Apple Martin. That blonde bitch.
And her ugly, mousy-haired friend.
Apple Martin and friend.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to friend. God. I don't know who you are. But Gwyneth and everyone.
You're not Apple.
You're not Apple. And so Gwyneth comes in, and everyone is buzzing like, oh my God, this is Gwyneth. This is Apple.
Oh my God.
And exactly. And I turn around, and I'm fuming. To me, I'm like, this is evidence of the reason why we need to eat the fucking rich. Are you kidding me? Apple Martin got to drink water because she's Apple Martin? I was like, everyone else was like, oh my God, wow, isn't it so cool? I'm like, why are we outraged? You are the reasons why we
should be pissed.
Yes. Yeah. This is the reason why we continue to be trod upon. This is the reason why we're not rising up. Like, this is the reason why billionaires still exist, because you think somehow they deserve to drink water.
Yeah. You're voting against your fucking interests.
Thank you. It drove me crazy.
It would drive me fucking nuts. I would make a fucking fuss. Oh my God.
I'm trying to like enlist them. I'm like, don't you see how unjust this is? Like, we need to rise up. And everyone's like, oh my God. Like, she looks
injustice
so great.
Anywhere.
Yeah. But everyone else is like, oh my God, Gwyneth is here. Like, no one else is paying attention to the injustice. Everyone else is like, oh my God, isn't this crazy? Like,
Celebrity. Oh my God. I hope she touches me.
Exactly. I'm like, no. She needs to pay for all of our waters that we have to discard.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my story. But like, yeah.
So you went home pissed.
I went home pissed.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we went to the after party and had a great time. But
was Apple Martin there?
I don't know.
Or
probably
Gwyneth?
Not. Gwyneth was not. No.
Gwyneth was not. Would you have said something if you got stank drunk to Gwyneth? Like, you know what? I respect you as a mother, but that's not how you raise children.
Peter, you know what I will say? I think it's really wonderful that you think I would have spoken to her as opposed to screamed.
You like blackout drunk? Yeah.
I mean, I'm
I
yelling.
can see
I'm
that.
yelling. I'm throwing things.
You're
No.
screaming sober, so
Yeah.
it's just gonna get louder.
But I mean, that was my experience with her. But that was my set. It was rough. And the thing is, I knew it was gonna be rough. The way I was like I lacked focus.
Wait, go back to why you told that story. Did you tell that story on stage?
Yes.
Okay, how did it do?
It did okay. I was like trying to get the audience to scream "Eat the Rich," and it's like they don't like to do that.
They're like, I might become one day.
Exactly. This is the
That's
lie.
the issue. That's the
this
problem.
And that is the issue. And like maybe the larger point is that like the fact that they won't agree, and I have to turn it back around. And this is the reason why Apple Martin didn't die that day, because we should have just
We should have drawn and quartered that bitch.
Exactly. We should have gone together as a population, as a mass, and been like, this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
No. And the thing is, I've never seen anybody else talk about it. I've never. And the thing is, the only reason why I brought it up was because there's recently been a lot of stuff inside of Dumois regarding Apple Martin's like behavior, because she graduated and she had been kicked out of another school because of her behavior.
Oh, she's a bad girl.
She's a bad girl. So,
ooh, I did not know that. She's
Exactly.
a bad apple. Ooh.
She's a bad apple. She's a bad apple.
One bad apple ruins the whole bunch.
And I was like, and I knew it. I saw her. And the thing is, at this point, she must have been fucking 12. You know, like she was not. And I guarantee those girls were not drinking water out of those swells.
What do you think it was? Vodka?
So, like clearly
Some
it was
kinda-
alcohol.
Yeah, they were
100%.
getting
Yes.
titted.
Yes. Because like if I can't imagine, even if they had been regular girls and they had just water on them, they would have just had the water taken away. But the fact that they were drinking, I had to have been the reason why they started to be escorted out. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
You know what I
okay.
mean?
All
So-
right. I see where you're going.
So I'm just saying, I've seen it before. I knew I called that bad apple, back in the day. I knew it. I knew it. I saw it happening. So, I mean, so the bit it went okay. I knew it was, you know this, Peter, that if you have a new bit, you kind of need to have the wording in your mind. Like, because even if you don't have it written out, or you haven't, especially if you haven't done it a bunch, like, you need to be thinking about it and the wording. And I wasn't. I'm very tired. I'm a new mom. I'm like, I have to also be kinder to myself. I was realizing, like, I'm really, I keep forgetting that I've just had a child.
Yeah, and you decided to do 30 full minutes of new material.
Like, I just truly am forgetting myself. I'm like, it's unhinged. I fully forget that I've just had a child.
That you just had a child. Yeah.
That it's like there are parts of my body that are still fully puffy from surgery.
Yeah, your spleen is in the wrong place.
Yeah, like it's like my body's so like whoa, and I'm like, okay, we got to get out there. Okay, what mics are we hitting? Like,
and do the hardest thing possible.
Yes. Like, I mean, just in terms of
That is very you. Because
it's not even physically that it's difficult. It is like mentally taxing.
Yeah.
So whatever. So that was that. It was humbling, but also I did learn a lot. So
That's
it's
great.
helping the writing a lot, because I have been writing a bunch. So
That's awesome.
that is good. I mean, like,
Yeah.
but it was a humbling experience. Let me tell you.
Comedy, never not humbling.
Wait, so what's
Speaking
the
of
show that you?
which,
Yeah.
I did a couple sets this week. One kind of like regular comedy show,
Okay.
which I also did some new material about.
Okay.
And my new stuff was about a friend that used to be like me being a gay man. Like the biggest tragedy in my life has been losing my straight girl bestie. To her new queer identity. So now she's not like a messy, stupid bitch anymore. She's like
A messy, stupid queer.
It's messy, stupid queer who's like, I don't know, fucking in fights with her stud all the time and like having, Yeah, so it was a lamentation of how like I just need my straight girl besties to like stay in the closet a little longer. Just
Yes,
for
it's
me.
true. It's true.
Yeah,
I
just
mean,
till I'm okay.
that is
Yeah,
actually any straight women listening.
yeah.
How are you?
I see you. I hear you. Stay messy just for a year longer.
Yes, and also like there is no shame in being straight. Like that is a gift. That actually like is important. You need to exist. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Who else is going to be our Uber drivers? Anyway, I did a second show that was definitively not a comedy show. I mean, yes, comedy focused. It was
Okay.
actually hosted by two Second City veterans.
Okay.
You might know them from the old IO team, The Reckoning,
Oh, who
Holly
is this?
Laurent,
Oh, okay.
and Jet Eveleth.
Okay.
So
Jet's
they
in
host-
LA?
Yeah, she's
Okay.
been in LA.
Okay.
And they host a salon every
Salon.
month. A salon
Mm-hmm.
at a venue every month, and it's geared towards trying out new things.
Okay.
So like being experimental, being vulnerable, being like raw and unfinished. Like that's kind of the point of it, to like bring
Okay.
something to a mostly artist. I think it was all artists actually. I don't think there were like randos like, hey, like, cause it's not a venue, it's like a private place.
Okay.
Um,
A salon.
I say long, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I printed out like 8 pages of a story that I had kind of done before, but I was adding like new bits to it.
Okay.
And I wrote it out, and the second I like printed it out, I was like, this is garbage. I hate this. I hate everything I wrote. This is a waste of ink and paper. And
I mean, the ink is expensive. That's where they get you.
it is the refills. So I get there and I completely decide to do something different.
Ooh.
And I decide to tell a story that I've never told before. Like a brand new first time. But it's a story that's been like in my head since forever.
Yeah.
I've just never been able to like make it funny.
Sure.
It's a very sad story about it in my life.
Okay.
I don't know
Peter,
if I've
it's like
ever
almost
told
like you
this.
did. It's almost like that experience right there. That's how I did my set.
It's not supposed to be funny.
I was like, oh, here's a story I've never told before that I never
Yeah,
tried
yeah.
because I've been able to make it funny. I was like, let me do it right now.
Yeah. Not at a salon, at a ticketed comedy club. You're way braver than I am. But yeah, we kind of, I guess like we both like went out on the limb and like.
What was the
went
story?
there. The story, I don't know if I've ever told you, but it's a story about my mom. After she got divorced, she started seeing someone new, and she wanted to move us all down to Virginia.
Okay.
And I was adamant about not going.
Uh-huh.
Because we had just escaped
Sure.
a bad dad. Like
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want this new person in my life.
Yeah.
Whatever. I was 13. Anyway, it's a long kind of like convoluted story, but it comes back to her deciding to go.
Okay.
And me deciding to do the unthinkable, which was live with my dad. And I guess like in my mind, like I was like, the devil
Yeah.
is better, which was the stupidest decision of my life, and it was by far the darkest year of my life, and it got really, really difficult, emotionally, physically, all of it. And at that time,
Wait, did your brothers go to Virginia then?
no. I only
Okay.
had my brother,
Okay.
Arlen. So Arlen was just with me the whole time, and
So Arlen and you stayed with your dad.
yeah, my dad moved into the house.
Okay.
And my mom left. And I couldn't believe my mom had left.
Yeah.
You know, like I thought, I guess in my 13-year-old brain, I was like, if I make enough of us think she won't go.
Yeah.
And she chose happiness, you know, and all my dad's family like vilified her and was like, how could you leave your children? What kind of monster does that? Blah, blah, blah. And I kind of was like, yeah, what kind of monster does that? So I was in a very bad way, and I was going from 8th grade to 9th grade.
Yeah,
so
you
it was
were
like
Bronx Science.
Bronx Science, 2.5 hour bus and train rides to school each way. So I was like, it was the hardest time of my life, and you know, I didn't know how else to, like, rebel at that time. So I started stealing, and making crank calls. So like that was like my outlet. And like, I guess like me and my friends were like prank calling people, prank calling each other, whatever.
Sure.
Like we were like getting each other. And
I mean, this is also during the heyday of the crank yanker.
Crank anchors, exactly.
Yes.
And this was, you know, when people still were like new to beepers and stuff.
Yes.
Like
I mean,
there was no
in the
cell phones.
culture. It was in the culture. Caller ID was just like in its infancy. It was an exciting time to be a teen and have a phone. Yes.
And you know, it was before Star 69. You know, so like,
a landline could really take you anywhere. It was
anywhere.
Kind of,
Yes. And like, especially when long distance was not a like thing anymore. Remember, like you had to pay extra for long distance calling. Like, what even is that mean anymore?
I mean,
no
there was
thing.
all about like there were so many commercials about like minutes that you had to like for a long distance.
MCI, WorldCom, like it was a time.
There was a time.
We so we spent so much time on our phones, you know, and on our landline phones, and I used to get I started getting these crank calls that would just like. Usually, it was like people going like, "Hello, like, is your refrigerator running?" You know, whatever, that kind of stuff, or like sexy noises, like, you know, like stuff like that.
Sexy noises, okay.
That's what I make. I don't know.
Yeah,
how
okay.
You have sex.
Mine are like, yay.
Yeah, like
ew.
But anyway, it was we started getting these crank calls that were like, I would pick up, be like, "여보세요?" or like, "Hello?"
Yeah.
And it would just be like silent, and they'd be like, click, and then I would pick it up again and like, "여보세요?" and then be like silent, and then click, and it happened like maybe like 3-4 times.
Okay.
And I was thinking like, I was starting to get scared.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, like, is this like someone trying to like get into the house? Like, is, you know, like a killer or whatever?
Yeah.
And it happened one more time, and I was so scared, I started screaming obscenities. I was like, "Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit! I'm gonna fucking kill you if I ever fucking find out who you are." Blah blah. You know, like it was just like I didn't know how else to like output my fear.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they don't click up, and I start hearing like hard breathing, and then I hear someone crying, and I'm like, "Hello?" And then I hear someone go, "Omaya," and I'm like, and I haven't talked to her in like 6 months at that time.
Oh my God.
So I'm like breaking down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And I get Arlen on the call, my brother, and she's on speaker, and I'm crying. I'm like, "Where are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
You know, how come you haven't talked to me? Like, where have you been? Like, I've been in fucking hell."
Yeah.
And I don't know why I'm telling the story. I should have just told you about the set. But anyway, and I can't believe I didn't tell you this. So she fills us in and says, she apologizes. And she said, you know, she was just really upset. And she didn't know how to like process and blah, blah, blah. And then she says like, in truth, I actually never left. I couldn't go to Virginia. So I moved half a mile away into a studio apartment, and I've been living there for the last 6 months, and I've been watching you guys from the corner, parked in the corner, and watch you guys go to school every day.
Oh
yeah.
my
I know.
God.
Like
crazy, and I'm
Yeah.
like crying.
Yeah.
I'm like, where are you? And she was like, come outside. And I go outside. She's on the corner in her like disgusting lime green Toyota Tercel. And
That's herself. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I know. And she told us she's been watching us go to school in the mornings before she goes to work. And she's been
Oh
like,
my God.
so she actually had never left. And anyway,
Yeah.
so like there's more to the story, but I've never told this story out loud. And I
Korean people
started
are too
just like
much. Look at this extra
bawling.
like, yes. Yeah.
And like I couldn't like I've never cried in public like that or on stage without it being like manipulated as an actor. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like me myself, I never had a
Sure.
reason to bawl like that.
Yeah.
And I just like lost it. And then like people in the crowd started like bawling. And that made
God.
me bawl. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I kept like apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this to you. And then I finished the story and it was great. But it was
Oh my God, Peter, that's like so, yeah.
tragic, like trauma.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And it's a big part of my life that, you know, we have a beautiful ending, you know, like
Yeah.
my mom moved back in and everything went great. So it's a happy ending, but that time was so hard.
Yeah.
And I actually like encapsulated within like the experience, the emotional disruption I have from that Tercel.
Yeah. I mean, that Tercel is the gloom's large.
Yeah, I know. And that's kind of how I like encased it. Like I started with like how much awful shit happened on that Tercel,
Yes.
but also it kind of like comes around with like the moment I was so happy to see that Tercel was that day my mom told me she never left, and she was like, I will stay. Isn't that so mellow? Like Korean
that's what I'm
drama?
saying. That's like such a K-drama. Like, what the fuck? We're living we're real people. You don't have to act like this.
You don't have to act like this.
No one asked you to be this way. There are no cameras. No one is. Why do we have to? This is the need to punish ourselves.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
That's the thing.
But the thing is, I think now as a 40-year-old man, I understand that like my mom was so ready for happiness after 13 years of like absolute depression and
Of course.
abuse.
Yeah.
And I was the one that stood in the way.
Was that Ajushi really going to bring her happiness?
Guess what? Turns out that ajoshi, we met because he sold us our first IBM compatible computer. Remember those back in the day?
Yes, I do.
From a storefront computer store.
Of course.
And then he moved down to Virginia.
Uh-huh.
Turns out he moved to Virginia because he was not a computer salesman. That was his front, and he was a CIA agent, and he was getting called back to Langley.
Shut up. Shut up.
So yeah, he would have made her happy, I think. The
Are you
wife of a
serious?
spy? Yeah. I think that would have been pretty cool. No,
But
maybe
you wouldn't have gone to Bronx Science.
No, I know. I mean, my life would be so different. I would be a Korean kid who grew up in Virginia.
Yes, one of those.
I don't know how many of you are out there, but like, you know, it's definitively not a New York experience. But
Yes.
Anyway, so I told that story and it ran like 20 minutes or something, and it was like 5 minutes of crying. Like I couldn't like stop myself, but it also felt like I apologized profusely, which Holly was very upset at me, and she was like, don't ever fucking apologize. Like, why would you do that? Like, this is what we're here for. But you know, like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to be like like an emotional terrorist and be like, this is a Saturday night and I'm like fucking crying in front of you. Like, you don't need group therapy.
Like emotional love bomb. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I closed it with a big joke, so like it. And there were a lot of jokes in between, you know, so like, and improvised jokes. So it was all great in that there was real pathos and also like real gut busting laughter. But if I did that at a comedy club, people would be like, I want a refund.
You never know. I mean, some people, Peter, what you're describing is like what I think
It's like
we're
Hannah Gadsby.
No, but it's like what every single actor, what every single person that goes to experience art is really
wants to
striving.
experience.
Yeah,
Yes,
is striving for like a real moment,
Yes.
real moment of vulnerability and revelation, right? And
Yes,
that's like
and
something
human, like universal.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you didn't even expect it. It was
I
surprising
wasn't-
to
yeah.
you.
It was
I
surprising
mean,
to me.
that's true. Like
That's true.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
true. Like
That's
I
what
will-
Jet
yes.
said. I came up to her and I was like, wow, that was a lot. She was like, you must be buzzing right now. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I am. And I was like, that was terrifying. And she takes both of my hands. This is very Jet. She takes
Yeah.
both my hands, look into my hands. She's like, we should all be terrified by our art.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet and weird. You know what I mean? Yeah.
See, that's who she is. She's such
Yeah.
a sweet word. One of my first teachers ever. Yes, in that it was an artist salon.
Yeah.
And in that space, I felt safe. And
I mean, but what a
taken
gift to be
care of.
surprised. But what a gift to be surprised by yourself. Like that's a gift.
It didn't feel like a gift.
Oh, of course not.
It
Of
felt
course
like a
not.
nightmare. The whole
Yes,
when
but
the
I'm
like
just-
tears
but
then
it-
started coming, I couldn't like.
But it's a gift to everyone. I'm telling you right now. Like I've witnessed that once before. It was at a spitballing where like this girl went up there and it was supposed to be she was trying out like a bit and like this idea as a stand up, and she was going and working through like the fact that she was in love with her girlfriend, but that she couldn't imagine a life without having dick again. And Peter,
I love that.
It was
love that
so
much.
funny. It was so funny, but this girl started to cry because she was like realizing that this
She
is
has
a
to give up dick.
dick. No, I know that she couldn't live her life with this woman because she needed to, like, she was gonna break up with her. She's realizing that on stage because she needs dick, and it's like funny and so real. And she starts crying, and then everyone is like watching her realize this. She's having that moment of vulnerability and revelation
Yes.
on stage in the moment, and she's realizing it. And it was such it's a gift. It was a gift to us. You gave a gift to those people.
How was it a gift to you? What did it do for you?
Just watching that it was possible. That so she went up there with this bit like planned out in her mind, but because she was so open
It went
and
so
vulnerable,
left.
because she was so open and vulnerable that she allowed herself to get there, and she was revealing something to herself and to us simultaneously.
Yeah.
There's nothing more vulnerable than that. I mean, like to show someone your belly.
It felt crazy.
Yeah, to show someone your
Yeah.
belly and you've not even seen what your belly looks like.
Yeah, exactly. You're seeing it at the same time.
At the same time? That's
Yeah,
crazy. And the
that's
thing is, your
crazy.
perspective of it is different because you are wearing the belly.
Yeah, exactly. And other
Right?
people are like,
It's your
oh, that's
belly.
a belly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're seeing, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so revealing.
Yeah.
So deeply
it is.
revealing.
It was so scary. It was so scary, and I recorded it, and this is a visual thing, so no one else will get this, but I want to show you. I literally printed this out.
Yeah.
Look at this font, like
Oh my God.
900 font.
Yeah, it's
'cause
like
I can't
so-
fucking read, right? Like, I had a
Truly?
whole thing ready, and then I got there and I did this.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
truly, like serial killer.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I was like,
Oh my
I
God.
think this is what I'm gonna do, and then just whatever. Anyway, but it did. You were correct in that it was a pretty revelatory experience. I had never, I was crying in front of people I respect, which is like the most. That's the worst. If you're crying around like people you don't care or you're never gonna see, it doesn't matter. But it was like people from
Yes.
The Reckoning.
Yes.
Mike O'Brien was there doing a bit.
Oh my God, POV. Like, truly, he's one of, like, important persons.
That's what
Yes.
I mean.
But okay, so Peter, do you want to know the same thing happened at this headlining set? The reason why I did all new material was because Claire Mullaney was there, and she's one of those first people like was on a cool improv team when you started comedy, and
you wanted to impress her.
I wanted to impress her, so I was like so out of my mind, and I literally I didn't mention that part because it was too embarrassing, but like I literally was melting because of a woman who the second I got on stage left. You know what I mean?
And you decided to just keep going anyway.
Yeah, I was like losing my mind, having a meltdown, and 100% the second I got on stage, I was like referencing her set, like I was like trying to tie. That's why I was like had such a hiccup because I was like trying to.
So funny.
And she had left the second I got on stage, and I was like, and then Claire, like, what about this thing? And like, you can try this, and truly, she was not
Crickets.
there.
That is fucking
It will fuck
hilarious.
you up. It is something about the eyes of people you respect.
Absolutely
that will fuck
not.
you up.
It'll fuck you up.
Yes, and that's the reason why. And you know why? It's because we don't have parents that are proud of us.
Right back to it. You see? This
That's
is
what
why.
I mean.
This is why they should give us a prize for every time we do something well. All right, it's time for some sugar-free Red Bull. Skinny.
I'll never not laugh at this.
Alex, can you make that into a sting so that we don't have to keep doing that? Anyway, so on Twitter this week, there was a thing trending called #GayAwakening.
Okay.
Gay awakenings, and it's people were talking about like what their gay or queer awakenings were via like pop culture. So, for example, JoJo Siwa
Yes.
said her gay awakening was binge listening to Demi Lovato's 2015 song "Cool for the Summer."
God, people are too damn young. Like they have to stop being so young.
I know. I'm like, what?
That's something within recent history. Like, I mean, like, what are you talking about?
I'm like, that's
just
pandemic.
Happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so everyone started like tweeting like who was their gay awakening? Who was their gay? There was a lot of gay awakening of that hot guy from Wizards of Waverly Place. Do you remember him?
No, I don't have cable.
David Henry. You never had Disney Channel for your kids?
No.
Anyway,
My kids?
He had
No.
your kid or whatever.
Yeah.
He had a huge bulge. It was hot.
He gets an abacus. That's it. All right.
Okay, you would know this. What about Justin Long in Jeepers Creepers?
Yes.
Okay,
Justin Long was as a general. Yes.
He's a low key hottie.
Yes.
A lot of women said, what's her name? Angelina Jolie in Tomb Raider.
Oh, for me it was Hackers.
Oh, Hackers for sure. That was definitely a queer awakening.
And Jonathan Lee Miller.
Yes, absolutely. Whatever happened to him? Some people said Brendan Fraser in Georgia the Jungle or Jungle to Jungle or whatever, Tarzan.
Okay.
So anyway, there was a lot of things, all very like recent stuff. Some people said Dr. Steamy from McSteamy, Dr. Sloan from when he comes out of the shower or whatever.
Yeah.
He was hot. Anyway, so I thought about mine, and I wanted to ask you about yours.
Okay.
So mine was because I grew up watching like K-dramas and like tapes, you know, like from Korean videotape stores.
Yes.
So we didn't have cable or anything, so we didn't watch others like American stuff.
No.
But I remember distinctly watching Dragon Ball Z, the anime, and being so attracted to how like buff the men were. Like they had like 18 packs and like huge pecs and muscles. And Goku, I would draw in my little composition notebook, like I would draw Goku naked. And then I remember this exact film strip. It was like a 3-panel scene, and it was Goku and some guy at the arcade. Mm-hmm. And like I guess Goku was at the arcade for. I spent a lot of time at the arcade, so like, and Goku was like, "Hey, do you have a quarter?" And I guess that other guy was me. And I go, "Of course, right here." And then Goku proceeds to, in the third panel, take all his clothes off and bend over. And the other character puts the quarter in his butt. And I think I was like 9 years old or like 10 years old. I'm out here drawing like coin sodomy. My parents went to Atlantic City a lot, so like I'm obsessed with slot machines.
Put it in
Anyway.
the slot, baby. Put it in the slot.
Put it in the slot and pull my lever. Anyway, so that was my like fucking.
That's so crazy.
I know. What the fuck is wrong with me? All the other kids are like, let's go play football. And I'm like, nope,
No.
I'm going to draw. I'm going to draw smut.
Coin-based sodomy?
Yeah. Still illegal in 48 out of 50 states.
Oh my God, Peter.
And of course, like a live action awakening for me was none other than AC Slater from Saved by the Bell. Yes, Mario Lopez and his little curly rat tail and his like little gym shorts.
And he always wore shirts really wide open.
Really low.
Yes.
Because it was like the wrestling singlet vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a man.
Oh, little fucking hot little.
Yes. I was always, mine are 100%, I was very into Archie comics, and it's 100% that. I was like, that whole
were you
little,
into Veronica?
I was Veronica, Betty,
Betty.
like the whole thing, like with like Archie and the redhead, like I think all of it makes sense why I was like into it. Because I was never like, it was never, the fact that I was so into it was never just because of Archie. It was like just like the whole thing, like all of it. The fact that it was so incestuous and like it's the original poly couple.
Sure.
They're
swinging. They're swinging.
Yeah, they're swinging, and
Yeah.
it's like and like there's and like in comic to comic it'll switch who he's with. Anyways, my queer awakening is 100% Anna Green Gables. I mean that's it. Like Anna Green Gables. It's like the CBC production of it. Anna Green Gables. These like two girls are clutching their books in their hands to their bosoms. Their bosom buddies. Their kindred spirits. They're laying down in a field talking about their dreams. She's smart. She's beautiful. Like what are you talking about?
But they were never. So was it like queer undertones for that, or was it you just took best friendship and made it into something dark?
Yeah, like it's me. What are you talking about? Like what? Like, if you ask any sort of like young queer woman, it's like, yeah, she has a really close best friend that like she just loves so much. I just love you so much, and that was. Like, what are you talking about?
The intense girl with the best friend.
Yes, she's like, you're my.
You're
best
the
friend.
brown hair girl
so
next to Apple Martin.
I just love you so much, and I don't know why you have to be so into boys. Like,
Yeah, you don't have to talk to any boys. Let me chop off my hair. I could be a boy.
like it's just like every single time when I look back on stuff, it was just like I wishing I had the language for things because truly it was just me being like, why do I love my friends so much and they don't love me back?
I'm loyal. That's to a T.
And like me just having to make up a boy that I would be into, and 100%
Yeah.
like when I look back at like all of the like when everyone was into NSYNC, like every single girl would like pick a person to be really into. It'd be Justin Timberlake's or Jay-Z, Shazay. I was Lance Bass. You know what I mean? I was just like, okay, I'll take this one. Like
the clearly gay one.
But I was like, yeah, I'll take this one, and it just like made no sense, like because it was. Like,
I was like, I'll take Chris Kirkpatrick.
Yeah, like,
No one's taking him. No one's claiming him.
Like I was just like, whatever. I don't like any. These are like all grown men. We're 15. Like who cares? Like,
Yeah.
What's going on?
Where's the girl my age that I could obsess over?
Exactly. And it's always that girl that was really into this thing. So I'd be like, okay. I mean, truly, like, those are my queer, like, whatever, awakening. Was that 100% Anna Green Gables. Like, it created this template for me. And, like, I just never forget, like, I was dedicating one of my poetry books to my best friend at the time. And I was reading it out loud to her, the dedication I had written.
Oh, my God.
Exactly. That's what she
sad.
said. That's what she said. At the end of that, she was just like, don't you think this is a little much? Do you think that people will get the wrong idea? And I was like, what do you mean? Like,
I can't do this. I like dick. And then she starts crying.
All right, guys, that's our show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.